Peter Detmer, instructor, Madison College. We just talked about the user frame or user tool in robot programming. Now we're going to look at the user frame, which is typically used to identify our parts or fixtures. So in this example, we have multiple good items that could be used as a user frame. A user frame is nothing else than a point, an origin you specify, and the X and Y direction of it. That frame then is a reference to the world frame. And any point that you teach within the user frame will be tied to that user frame. So if the user frame moves or you reteach that user frame, those points move along with it. There's several methods of doing this. I'm going to use this piece of paper as an example. On here, I have an origin identified. I have the X direction identified and the Y direction identified. The Z is going to come out of the paper. So, and then this trapezoid is going to be my part. The user frames, are typically used if you have parts that are fixtured and you identify those origin and X and Y direction on your fixture, so you can easily reteach them if needed. Industry often uses a specific point tool that's installed to make teaching the user frame easy, because sometimes your tooling does not allow for a good point that can be used to teach the origin and X and Y direction. So I'm just simply going to demonstrate how to teach the user frame, teach 4 points in my program, and then I'm going to move this user frame onto a different plane, reteach it, and execute the program again, and you will see how that program stays with the user frame. In order to set up and teach the user frame, I'm going to switch cameras here and show you the teach pendant. On the teach pendant, we press the menu key. We go to Setup, cursor over, and down to Frames. Now you can see we are right now in a tool frame. To get out of this screen, we press the previous key. Here you see the tool frame, all 10 of them. We're going to press F3 for Other. Now we can choose either tool frame, jog frame, or the user frame mode. Here you see the user frames. I'm going to use user frame 1, which currently is empty. To get into user frame 1, you press the F2 detail key. Then you have to tell the robot how you're going to teach the user frame. I'm going to use the 3-point method by pressing F2 and select 3-point. You can see right now there's no comment in it. I'm going to leave that blank. The first point you have to teach the robot is the origin, and you do that by simply jogging the robot to the origin, to the point that will be your 0, 0 reference of your part. To do so, I'm going to pick up the teach pendant, change to world mode. It doesn't matter how you teach the user frame, as long as you get to the point. The point gets recorded, that's all that matters. It's a point recorded in world. Depending on the accuracy needs of your part and your project, you may have to be very, very accurate. You may have to get some assistance in order to teach these points. For our example here, I'm not that concerned about it and simply want to get to the process is not that critical as it is to understand what those user frames are used for. So here I have my pencil tip on the origin point. Now that I'm at the origin, I'm going to show you the teach pendant again. I press Shift and record, and now you see the origin point has been recorded. Now I'm going to take the teach parent again, cursor down to the X direction, because that's the next point I have to teach the robot. So I'm going to jog in world again. I'm going to go down the positive X direction. And good practice is to go as far as you can. The larger you create the axis, the more accurate it's going to be. But at minimum, you should move probably 2 to 3 inches. I'm going to use the tip of that air. Now that I'm at the tip, I'm going to show you the teach parent again. Make sure the cursor is on the X direction point and press Shift, record. Now you see the second point recorded. One nice thing with these robots is you can use the move to function, which will automatically jog the robot back to your origin point. If you have your cursor on origin, you say Shift, move to. You have to have the deadman switch held, the Shift key held, and then press F4. The robot will then move back to the origin. Make sure you cursor back down to the Y direction. So now I'm going to teach the robot the Y direction. And if you noticed, as I used the move to command, it actually moved my pencil. So I should go back